Jagazao, Jagaze. Con permiso, por favor. What's going on? Textiles in the building. Hold on. All right, we are back. Textiles in the building. Daily Spread podcast is the regular, but this is an End of the Streets exclusive. Yo, I don't steal content for one. I don't have to. I never needed to. I'm a curator, right? Salute to those that are putting in that work, doing what they got to do to get through. I don't even know how long I've been on YouTube. Maybe on this channel, at least 11 years, based on the fact that I just looked up a video that I did 9 years ago, and I didn't even realize that video was 9 years ago, and I've been on YouTube before that for at least 4 years. So I've been on YouTube for some time. Matter of fact, we could just do this. I could just go look uh at my channel, right? Go to your channel. And let's start there. Let's start at videos. Let's start at videos. How do you go there? All right, here. Videos. Oldest. Yeah. 11 years ago. Meta World Peace. Does MLM really work? Justin Varengia. Dr. Laila Africa. All right. 11 years ago. I make $1,000 in a day. MLM. Dr. Aris Latham. Right? These are people that, if you follow me on social media, you see I'm still posting to this day. All right. Network marketing. Dwayne. Dave Wood. This is when Ian was popping. Right? You can do it. A bunch of inspirational stuff. I was on this. Papoose was at Kendrick 11 years ago. Talk about Alexa ratings for websites. All right. 11 years ago. Videos all the time. Videos. Occasionally I'll drop in a video. This video I didn't like Cheryl Underwood making jokes about so-called black hair. So I'm on here, real name, everything. Not, I'm not one of these guys, right? I'm still want to show you more. Like I don't even remember a lot of this stuff. Like these videos. Like if I watch them, I probably, would learn a lot. Right? Health and healing books. This is still 11 years ago. Still in the league 11 years back. Right? Oh shoot, Paper Posh. Right? Tracy Walker, one of my mentors on national TV. All right. How to rank on Google, teaching SEO. Okay. Some people say, Mark, you're not real. Now, all of this, a lot of the stuff I was talking about there, this video right now came to a point where some of the stuff I had to clear up a lot of that stuff from back then. Right? Which was good. And then boom, this was about, why I ended up being a part of another company that ended up folding, but I definitely made some things happen while I was there. Workout era, working out, Dr. Sebi. All right. This is 11 years ago, gang. 10 years ago. Still talking business. Shout out my sis, Crazy Latham. All right. So, Barclay Center, 10 years ago. So you get the point. I was shooting videos for a minute. One of my biggest videos, let me go back to the top. Let's look it up by views, because Got nothing. I never made a coin of YouTube, and if I did, I made the coins of YouTube. Maybe I need to talk to somebody from YouTube about that. All right, popular. Show about popular, most popular. So you see the top 5 videos I got here. Total Slaughter, 10 years ago, 80,000 views. Murderland, 31,000 views. Legal Side Hustles, 21,000 views. I didn't even know that video had that much views. And Gary V book during racial profiling, 86,000 views. Right? Then got 74 with this B Howard stuff. Hidden Cutters review got 2.7. So are based on a lot of different things. And right now, my focus is sports betting. Right? Daily spread. I got daily spread hoodie on. Daily spread logo here. And that is what we've been focused on now. So now today, I'm on a channel where I'm thinking I'm gonna get the a chance to speak a little bit. Then I got other videos. You see that? That's other videos there. All right. I'm thinking that I'm getting a chance to say a couple of things, and I make this video in the midst of that. Like I leave from the back of that channel, right? Because I didn't know what was going on while I was, just being just held, and I wanted to speak. I didn't just want to. So I came in one and I made this video, right? Now check out what I got to get this
Yo,
started. Let me
yo.
like this video
I
because
think we live.
I don't got no reason to what you call it to people, man.
What's happening with you? Checking to see if we live. If it comes up on my phone that we active. All right, it says we active. All right. All right. So what's good with your textiles here? Daily Spread Podcast is the platform for the most part. Although this would fall more into It of the Streets HD.
It
So
is streets H.
It of the Streets HD, we are in the building textiles here, and we are bringing you some raw.
Riggedy, bro.
Diddy was denied bail for a third time. According to reports, I really don't know. And I got the screen up right here on this young lady's page, Just D, the Just D show, because I was just
What did I do? What did I do? I just said where I got the information from, right? If I'm stealing content, what I had said in any of that? All right, let's continue because I don't think somebody who's trying to steal content will be saying that. Look at all them ones too at that. Damn, that's lit.
on her page just now, as you can see my name right here. She was reviewing the Black Boule and to basically what she was saying just a little while ago. And if you go back and check out her video, check out her page, she said she didn't really know too much about it.
I'm telling you to do
So
what? Go check out her video. Go check out her page. Wow.
she's going through and she's doing her homework on it. I wanted to get in there and talk and shed some light on what I have come across in regards to Black Boule and all of that. Uh, but I also said, I want to talk. I need to stop being on my own platform more. Now, I use this for sports and sports betting for the most part. And that's my camera off. Yeah, it is. And I could put it on, right? I could put the camera on, but I don't want to right now. Um, yeah, I wanted to get on here and just talk a little bit about that Black Boule as well as Jaguar right and whether she's right or wrong. Like I was gonna name this Jaguar right or wrong. Like, but I'm like, man, I'm going hard. I got these crazy titles. But I don't wanna be that guy, right? Whatever that means to you. I just know that when it comes to this stuff, this conspiratorial or this truth telling or this off the cuff or this non mainstream type content is for a long time. Now, again, I stopped for the most part because people didn't want to hear it, right? People didn't want to hear it. And so, what was I supposed to keep going, keep talking to you about this stuff and you don't want to hear it? Well, I have been. I have been in my and just not on the internet for the most
All
part.
right, so I'm just, just
No,
chatting now,
as
but I'm up. I think I made
you
a
do your
point.
homework.
And I was looking to educate as well, right? And I know people are in their own space and time, and they don't. She doesn't have to trust me or believe me or any of that. That's fine. And just D, if you ever listen to this, I hope you don't strike my page and none of that other stuff and all that. Like I never been. Well, I don't even know if I've been through. I think I've been through enough stuff with this YouTube stuff or whatever. Um, but yeah, it's no again, there's no malice, it's no hate, it's no me looking to take your listeners or none of that stuff. Again, like I shared with you earlier today, um, the Chinks Drugs video I made 9 years ago. You know, this type of content is not new to me. I'm outside the battle rap event, the Murderland event. I got thousands of views from that. Like, that's not because of me taking people's content. Like our people have taken my content. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man.
Let's
Anyway,
go down memory lane. And look at this. Was Chinks drugs a sacrifice?
I just felt like, oh yeah, this was me showing that part of the video.
Look,
But I just really thought that it was all of the play and not like let me talk and all that.
look at this.
How about that?
9 years
You
ago
might still hear it. So
in the rain.
I'm walking, yeah, right.
Spiritually.
I made the video 9 years ago.
Hey, what's going on? Ken Beckford here, shooting this video in the rain out here in Tampa. I'm always shooting videos when
I
I'm
was in
out.
Florida, right? And information came and I watched the video and like let me see I could fast forward. After I said what I said, I went and pulled up other video. I looked at the comments in my video. And that video was up on my page. You can see that video.
Interesting either.
So, because for me, again, conversation, documentation beats conversation all the time. So when I went back into JustDee, when I go back into your channel, and how I got back in your channel, I just went back on my browser. That's how, right? So you'll know it is no craziness because I went back to your page and I wasn't in there. I was like, damn, I went looking for the link. I'm like, oh, the link, I don't see it. I don't see any of my comments. And so I ended up going back on my browser after I did my live because I was on my live for like an hour. The time just flew by. Right. I was like, all right. So I went back on my browser and it put me back in your stream. So I'm typing back in your chat again, engaging and because I would like to see more and more people who I feel are building from the ground up that are authentic to get it popping. So I'm not and I got stuff to share. I'm not somebody that sit in the comments and don't speak. If I'm in somebody's chat, most times you're gonna know because I'm most likely gonna say some in the comments. If you watch me, if you want to any chat anytime you ever see me in anybody video, I'm in the chat. I don't sit and act like I'm not watching. All right. I don't, that's normally not me. Not if they're talking about something that is relevant to me or that I have something to share upon. So in here, I ended up sharing upon Steve Coakley. And that's what made me want to get on stage because this was on my mind all day. And it was just so, to me, so coincidental that JustDee that you were speaking on Boulay. And so when I mentioned Steve Coakley, you asked if Steve Coakley was in the Boulay. You didn't know who he was. Now that's no like slight to you because people don't know. When people don't know, they don't know. They just ignorant at the time, ignoring, just don't know, right? Which is fine. But now you can know. So I'm just impatient today because of the time and what's going on with me right now. I lost a brother today, right? Someone who held me down when I was down bad, right? Like someone who was there for me and countless others. I ran into so many people today who he affected positively in their lives that it was crazy for me. So to get back to the lab, all I want to do is just chat. I just want to talk about whatever, all of this stuff, just vent, help get it out. And I know if you've been there. You were just talking about situation the other day that you were dealing with. And and a lot of times we use these platforms to share with others, but it also helps us. We get to talk, right? And a lot of times I don't be feeling like talking about personal stuff. That's why I do a lot of the sports stuff. I could talk about entertainment, other stuff, but real life stuff be going on, you know? And with that real life stuff that was going on today with me, with my bro, it's insane. It's not my blood brother, but we shedded blood. Like that's my brother, blood, sweat, and tears. Been through the fire together, right? Like people wouldn't and I ran into someone today who ended up coming to the knowledge of their passing, and it broke them down so bad. Like I'm able to just continue to move about and not think about it too much, not let it bring me down too much. But watching this young man go through it, it just became too much for me. I became overwhelmed myself. Just thinking about the time, just thinking about the impact that this individual had. Think about the struggles they went through, and where we are now, right? And it's definitely tough, for anybody to lose somebody, So to lose someone, to go through that is definitely something that you need people there for. So I'm glad that I had people there around me today. And it goes even deeper, man. Like our names, our nicknames are similar. So some people even believe that it was me, and so it was just it was a lot today. Today was definitely only built for Cuban links. So as I continue on, yeah, I got nothing for love for people who look to do their thing, to make power moves, and to share uh powerful information with people, regardless of where they are with the information. So again, once it got into the talk about um the Boulay, I could only think about Steve Coakley. So what I'm gonna do is fast forward to Steve Coakley because um he without Steve Stokely met Stokely too from Steve Coakley. Okay. All right, there we go. Steve Coakley. Do you know who Steve Coakley is? All right. So I'm seeing these channels here. I'm wondering why this channel's come up with Steve Coakley name. So I'm gonna peek in here before we go to that video there below. All right. It's because he has Steve Coakley stuff here. It pops up soon as you
Kicking
pop.
no devil in the ass. Devil doing pretty goddamn good. Devil's pretty successful here in the.
Okay. I'm glad he said the hellos. You seen that? Because that was something else. When I went in the channel again, when I went back in JustDee's channel, and I'm probably gonna not mention it anymore after this. The conversation was now Jaguar. It was Jaguar audio was playing. I'm not sure when this audio uh was uploaded and produced to the internet. But in that in that talk, Jaguar spoke of the word bless. And I was like, I agree in regards to what she said. When I even wrote be less before Jag said it in the thing, and it's my first time hearing her talk about it because she said that that word is a word that could potentially, in my interpretation, is that potentially it can bring us to a space we don't want to be. When we say it to people, are we saying something that is beneficial or detrimental to them? Like, if words are spells, are we casting a spell on people when we when we talk about what we talk about? Like if somebody says bless you, is that saying be less of you, or does that mean to be more of you? All right. And it sounds like be less because it's like be, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a word that I tried not to use. And I was like, wow, Jag is on some she's spitting. And I also wrote in the chat that's how I also feel about hello. But when I'm looking in the chat, like my words is not there. So like you blocked and all this because you stealing my content. You came in my live, you went in my bag, you went in the back of my joint to go on your channel, and I don't even understand what I was supposed to be doing. Like mirroring her stuff. Nah, I wasn't doing none of that. I literally went in the chat, waited for you. Like it was mad. Like I was waiting for a minute, and maybe I'm impatient. Maybe. But again, like I said, I'm not gonna deny that. I wanted to speak. So reason why I went in the back and went back there, on the StreamYard and was waiting and even commenting in your chat still while waiting. So I know I was there. So then once I wasn't acknowledged, I dipped off and I opened up my live so I could speak on my platform, which is fine. That doesn't take away from your platform. That actually adds to the algorithm of good content at night. People could go to yours, could go to mine. People who don't know you exist gonna know you exist because guess what? I said go to her page. Nobody's gonna know people not gonna go from your chat to my page because I'm in your chat or because I go in your live unless you be like, yo, you got a page and this and that and the third. And even if they did, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not the type of person that's trying to steal your content. It's not even my lane. I don't. I right now I'm on sports betting and showing people how to handicap sports. That's what I'm on. Outside of that, I'm gonna talk about all this stuff: gematria, numerology, conspiracy, flat Earth, round Earth, globe Earth, electric Earth, the Bible, Quran, politics, religion, spirituality, non-spirituality. What I'm gonna talk about all of it. And when I'm ready to, I have that right. Don't you? So with that being said, let's go to brother Steve Coakley, the
Pretty damn
OG.
good. It's many people. I check Cecil Rhodes.
Hold on. How did that happen?
No, look like there ain't no God. I'm getting with the devil. Because he look like he doing better than God's doing. Now everybody swear they good in God. Now let's have a little check here, right? Let's have a little check. Y'all tell me what's better. Now this ain't got nothing to do with me or you personally. You tell me what's better. A lion vegetarian or a truth-telling pork eater?
Mm.
What's better? So don't put petty pressure on each other about who's the blackest by what you ate. It's what you did with what you ate. Right?
That's good science right there. I'm not mad at that. that's like the teaching that says about when people say, yo, it ain't about what defiles you is not what goes in, but what comes out. Right? But what comes out is usually what goes in, right? Or if what goes in ain't coming out, then we have a problem, don't we? All right. So just wanted to put that out there for you to think about. All right. So here's a video I remember seeing. Take a little peek at this real quick. And why I bring up Steve Coakley again is because when you speak of Boule, you got to speak of Steve Coakley. A reference that predates Steve Coakley, feel free to share, or even comes out Steve Coakley, feel free to share. Others involved in the movement, in the talks, in the discussion, and the dissemination of the information, feel free to share at any given moment. All right. Even if you got to go on your channel while I'm on mine, feel free to go share the content. All right. Steve Coakley spoke about these people and did so until I believe close to his demise. And some people feel that it probably was reason for him to not be here. And it's a wild thing because man like him was just trying to put some levity on things, on some on some real situations. Because look, you got this man Anton LaVey who was interviewed, who really went on TV and said he was a Satanist. So without being said, let's talk about Steve Coakley talking about for entertainment and educational purposes. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. Let's see what's shaking, man. Get him up to the stage. Get him up to the stage.
And we want to share with them to the program. Two is we'll be here Monday night. And Monday night, I will start the process of bringing you to where it is we are today. I'm most humbled by the work that I do, that if you watch the dates of the tapes, you will see a continual penetration of evil. And as I said last night, and as I say every time, the program is not real complicated. When we get to the bottom of evil, we're going to kill it. It's not real complicated.
Now, I'm glad that this video came up. And again, shout out to JustDee, because without you going live, without you even talking about this, I probably would have never made a video tonight that's talking about this stuff. Wouldn't been able to really share and get these bars off. And I feel it's important for me to get these bars off. And it's not you shouldn't be responsible for me getting these bars off, right? Or not allow me to not get these bars off, or not allow me, or you shouldn't. I got to get these bars off. Is basically what I'm saying, right? And by hook or by crook, I'm getting these bars off. I don't believe that you're a gatekeeper, but I was in your gate and you was keeping me. And so I had to get from outside of your gate and get to a gate that was gonna have me unkept, because I need to let these bars off, right? About the same topic that you speaking of, same subject that you were speaking on at the moment, which was the boule, right? This was on my mind all day. I ain't gonna hold you outside of my man's passing. This was on my mind, right? And I think it's partly because of what we spoke about the day before. Like these people like Sean Combs, right? From what we see, they keeping them behind the wall because they saying that it could be a detriment to the people who could potentially affect whether or not. And I don't know whether that's true or not. But if that's the case, then when a situation like a young man passes away and this situation is sketchy around it, it takes your mind in different places. In my mind, this is a topic that, like I showed you 9 years ago, made a video on it, walking in the rain. That when I'm in the zone, I talk about it. And right now it's 46 degrees and rainy down here. So this is not, again, this is not some, me trying to do anything crazy. So, just wanted to put that out there again. I would like you to learn from me. I would like to learn from you and those who have been abused, victimized, blacklisted, blackballed, shadow banned, to be not even necessarily working as one, but work and continue to push forward, like my man Steve Coakley just said, and kill it. Right? You got brothers in hip hop that do hip hop content on various content on their page every night, right? Virtually every night, that have huge followings in real life, but come on platforms like YouTube and can't get no traction, right? Because they're getting shadow banned, right? Sub Zero. Sub Zero been out. Everybody that was dealing with hip hop in the 2000s got a Sub Zero DVD. You understand? And like many others that are out there. I'm not consistent, so I'm not gonna say me. I'm not consistent on one topic. I'm not consistent in making videos. I'm not consistent in sharing it. I'm not consistent with none of this stuff. I can help people who want to do that, but it's not my thing because they already put a bad taste in my mouth with me putting out wild content, and there's always been an issue with them trying to have me in position to get to the money. Now it's about how long you be online and all. Nobody got time to be doing all this all the time, bro. But if it makes sense, it make dollars, right? So with that being said, enough of that. Anton Liver, like I'm saying, man, he's doing interviews. I'm sure you probably seen him look like Count Dracula of the cereal box, doing interviews and all that. They probably made that cereal box off this dude and all that. And this is what he's on, right? So, and you see what Steve Coakley is saying over here, right? Speaking on a Million Man March, but he said the Million Man Masonic March, right? So very interesting here. So let's go through some.
And I said
And
last
look,
night,
special guest, OJ. OJ was in the building, right? So
shortly before that night is over, someone will say, "Brother, I heard all this intricate stuff you was talking about. What are you gonna do with all this information?" Somebody will ask, and even when we say some cannot hear, but if we do not do this, we will die. And so, for the babies, it's our responsibility to penetrate evil, and I have a role in that for you and behalf of my only to try to get this hunky off our back. There's no doubt about it. But one thing you all will notice is that I don't cuss quite as much as I used to. I tended to notice that the more influential that we became and the more deeper that we got towards our goal of penetrating evil, the less the exaggeration of the dialogue was necessary. Sometimes cussing does not have to be used as other options of "I would like you to do this for us" tends to work much better now because of weight we have gained. I heard you all last when I came on the program to talk about the attack we have received in New York at Time Warner. But I'm most proud of the tape, and we're going to get a VCR in here because one of the nights I want to talk to you about the emerging battle between the old white establishment, the Eastern families of the Rockefellers and the DuPonts and the others who are now being challenged by the new establishment, the information technological computer boys who are coming up off of the West Coast. And
Yeah, let me stop this for a minute because I am doing a reaction to Steve Coakley speaks on Satanism, Anton LaVey, and the Million Man Made Sonic March special guest OJ video here on whose channel is this? Is it Brother Hannibal? Okay. I almost gonna say Black Hannibal. And so with that being said, let's get back into it.
between these whites are important for us. And our little encounter with Time Warner is what is at stake
Look, you see OJ Simpson.
when a company can get the power to control dialogue as Time Warner merged with Turner and Time Warner Turner control US West, the baby bell here, and US West buys Continental Cable, the third largest cable. And you start weaving that together and soon it'll be larger. So we have to keep our eye on that level of the rise of this new establishment. And we'll be talking about them, but I'll be most proud when I show you Manhattan and the Africans who stood up with us in downtown Manhattan as we took the counterattack to the steps of the beast. It's all right in a battle that you take a punch or two. Do not think you can get into a war and fight without having to take a punch. You are not going to keep your clothes clean and no fight with no enemy. So you have to be prepared to sustain yourself. And even brother knows the days he had to sustain himself when those are speaking against you, that's when you're truly tested. But again, the war is a long one, and you must be strategic in when your moment emerges. So as we take this fight, as Time Warner struck, it was all right. Took a few minutes, we struck back, and then they took and counter-struck, and we countered that strike, and then we went into some preemptive action. It was very important that you know that when we share and stand forward with this information, that it is how we implement it in the real world that is the test of what we say. Do we mean what we say? And I would hope as little as I have to work with, and probably more than most, we have probably gone as deeper as we have in the history of our community. And it is because we are looking for them. We are getting to the bottom of something because we're after it.
All right. Again, yeah, so I got audio here just to and also I got my phone here. He said I blocked him and I blocked him and I thanked him. But look at this. Where's my ears? Can we hear this? Is this connected to here? It's muted down, but there I can see everything. Matter of fact, let's go back here. See? I'm not hold on. So wait, I could go back in. Oh, wait. Oh. All right. wait. He said I'm trying to move her content, I think. I don't know, man. I'm cool. But you know that ain't the case, gang. Never was my thing. Not my problem. So yeah. When God was going in
But I wanted to go back and just to show you, like, if I click YouTube, look, it's right here. Not blocked. I'm not trying to ding your page. But if you say I jack your stuff, I'm trying to see where you said yeah, I saw that weirdo stuff.
Of course it is.
So I was in the back waiting to get on.
Believe this.
Like, blah, blah.
Member of Sigma Pi Phi, but
There's some bullying harassment. No, it doesn't.
Was he a
I'm
Like,
just trying to
Jaguar
see.
said, now, in a bucket, fuck, middle of the emblem. Or melanated men. And he proud full tattoo. As much research as I have done to, is that? So I'm starting to believe the rumors. Alicia Keys, Mr. Carter, of its first Boule history book, it noted that like, bro, she's on some shit, and it ain't weed. I really don't be fucking with Instagram for real.
sex offenders?
Jaguar and G, it's a very murky aura, right? Hey, my love,
Something is, I believe, is right around in here. That's why I keep going back to right here.
like I said, I feel like Lionel B is on
What? I don't know. I could be wrong.
was saying is a real life miracle. If you come in my presence and I already feel your intentions are fake as fuck, I'm look. Imagine how much more she's gone through behind closed doors that we don't even know about. They're supposed to die diligence in the law and take and file her. Tyler, when shit just got real.
All right, so I was in the chat. I was back in there when this was happening because I was hitting this kid
Yo,
up.
Andrew, we all got a little crazy in this for real though. Yo,
Me bad. You don't have to make me bad. I've been bad.
Now I
I
was
learned that my
backstage at
grandfather
this
taught me
point.
when I was a kid before I was born is that life, just like for real.
for Jag. But I wouldn't have time to commit to that because of.
Trying to tell people that she's okay.
All right, so yeah.
So no, I
Now you
don't
see
fuck
this
with
lady wrote, or this man, I'm not sure, wrote, yeah, dude, you violated.
I keep telling you.
You understand? So now I'm confused. Because
So anyway, it's called entertainment news reporting. I don't give that stupid motherfucker my energy. I simply report entertainment news like all the other content creators. Now, I feel what she's saying as far as the be less.
content right here, Jaguar right was dropping some heat.
the time to do their bidding.
This is from JustDee's channel. I'm not stealing her content. She says she blocked me, and I'm showing you I'm not blocked. But besides me showing that I'm not blocked, for some reason she believed that I'm still on content. This is why she said that she blocked me, but she didn't block me. So I'm not trying to call you a liar. But if you want to block me, right? But I know I unsubscribed, so I don't know if you can't block me if I unsubscribe. But because when I was in the back and you was like, yo, I don't fuck with you, I'm like, all right, I just was in the, you just let me on your stage. And then because I went on my channel and you assumed that I don't know. I don't even know. I can't, I don't know. That's the part that I don't get. But,
Crash test
you know, it is what it is.
so that they can be in these men's good graces, hoping that they'll gotta stop saying that word black.
Now, when she said that, I was in the back and I was like, yo, I resonate with that 100. I've been on that.
Like the
And I wrote it
boring
in the chat. Like you can see, make this larger. You should be able to see me. You write that in the chat unless she's invisible. Let's see here. All right. So live chat. She may have removed my comments from the chat, but I
think about phonetically what that means.
exactly. That's the type of time I be
I
on.
don't even want to hear it.
So yeah, she removed my comments because I was commenting in here on
It's a one syllable word.
and I wrote be less. So that's when she ended up speaking on be less, but she never posted
And that's the
comments
tricky
up there.
part.
Which is fine. That's her choice.
Be less. Be less.
And as you
Be
can see, I
less.
unsubscribed. My like is still up
Be
here. If I go
less.
remove it,
Be less.
but you hear Jack,
Be
right?
less.
Be
How many
less. Be
times
less.
somebody, oh, bless you, child.
Right. And I'm like, I don't like that word, but I don't tell them to people too much. Like, yo, when you're saying bless, you know, I take that as an offensive comment on anything. I just chalk it up to them really not knowing any better, which is probably part of the problem. And like Jack is doing now, speaking up is what make people believe that she's a problem. But I'd always admire that, and always, if you could go back through, which is why I've been blackballed too, bro. Like you could go through platform after platform, and people that know me know what time it is. People that rock with me know what time it is. Right? I've always been getting blackballed on platforms, shadow ban or whatever, made to look like I'm crazy Bob because of people like Jack I stood up for. Right? I'm going through and look, because she says stuff like this, maybe she could go off the rails and whatever the case may be on certain things, you know, it is what it is. But when it get down to it, everybody is not open to just speaking and getting on a soapbox. And it's not every time they just talk about the diddlers and things of that nature. Right? This thing got really nothing to do with that. But it did, but this is more getting into more of personal development.
Bless you. Bless her heart.
And
See,
because
I
of the
like to
mental aspect of personal development, where you start to think about what you say, even if you can still continue to use the word bless, right? It's about thinking about what you say and then being more creative and speaking more things that potentially mean more positive things than potentially mean more negative things. Like good morning. I don't say good morning to people like that, right? I usually say great day. You know, I don't say hello like Steve Coakley when go back to bro in just a minute. I say heaven high. People know me like people know me for coining the phrase heaven high. And I'm not saying that I did because people could have been saying that before me. Once I realized what hell low phonetically was on, I took it to heaven high.
Texas way of saying it. Because see, down in Texas, see, when we say, oh, bless her heart, basically what we saying is that little goofy ass motherfucker about to find out, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that. There's a sarcastic bless you type of sarcasm for sure.
To see it. Now, in that case,
Again, this is from the JustDee show, for educational purposes only regarding textiles, as there was something that happened. I don't know. I can't explain it.
I'm okay
Confusion.
with it.
We can't let the agents of confusion that are within rule us. We could discern, we could judge the others and make sure we got the right people around us. But if we got the right people around us, we don't necessarily need them around us either. But don't make them out to be the wrong people because you want to be the right people.
We need to stop telling people to be less. We need to start telling people to be more.
Right.
And that don't mean move to Baltimore. Please don't, because that is a blessed town. You hear
That's
me?
tough. That was bars.
They
That was
play with
bars.
Bang, bang, bang.
That was bars.
our language so much. They've tricked us into cursing ourselves
Right.
into mediocrity.
Right.
Texas do not mess around. You know, I grew up in the North. I come from what they call the Delaware Valley area, but I'm a Philadelphian. But when I moved to Texas,
hmm
I
I have a video on Jaguar page and mirror from there. Uh, no funny. But yeah, Steve Coakley, man, he's one of them guys. Another person that I can share with you that was outside dropping them jewels, right? So you can go and share with your audience because this is not me. This is my me. I would love to just share this information. You just take it and you do it. And probably saying, "Who you? You who you? You? If you this is what you like to do, you do it." All right. Let's see, Steve Coakley. Just because time is of the essence. John Todd on Sony, I believe it is. Is someone who I haven't people heard people talk much about. And now this video, it's gonna be tough to find, huh? Let me see. Hmm. All right, so this is gonna be what audio most likely, huh? Looks like, huh? All right, so if you're not familiar with John Todd, see if we could get into some of that here.
Across the series, and some of the little pamphlets like Big Daddy and G.I. Joe and This Was Your Life and The Thing, a number of very effective comic book type gospel tracts, which have reached a circulation, I believe, of more than 3 million copies. And God has wonderfully blessed Jack Chick's ministry. Jack Chick called me in March of 1974 about a certain subject and mentioned the fact that he just met a converted Druid priest who was saved out of Druidism, which is a very high level of witchcraft. And he told me that this particular converted priest knew personally of more than 50 to 60 cases of human sacrifice perpetrated in this country. Now, at that time, Johnny Todd's name was not given to me. Then about the last of May or 1st of June of this year, just about 5 or 6 months ago, about 5 months ago, Jack Chick called me again, not remembering who I was because we had not met personally. and began to tell me about this man named Johnny Todd who was converted out of witchcraft. And then I reminded him of the conversation we had about 3.5 years before in March of 1974.
Now, now you heard what he said, right? Converted out of witchcraft. So now, if you hear people start saying that they were converted out of witchcraft, would you then think that they somehow saw my video or did some more homework and started using that term? Since people start saying, "Oh, you're a witch or into witchcraft," then there's an issue. So I bring that up, yes, because of Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright recently, if I'm not mistaken, saying that she why don't they ask Beyonce about her being a witch or whether or not she's a witch or something to that effect? And I think that Jaguar said something like, it takes one to know one. So basically implying that Beyonce is a witch or is into witchcraft of some sort, and she is as well. But did she ever say that she was, what did he just mention? How did he word it just now?
And I asked if Johnny Todd were about 5 months ago. Jack Chick called me again, not remembering who I was because we had not met
The
personally,
verbiage.
and began to tell me about this man named Johnny Todd who was converted out of witchcraft.
Converted.
And then I
Okay.
reminded him of the conversation we had
All right. All right.
about 3.5 years before in March.
I mean, I wouldn't put too much stock into them necessarily verbally stating that, but it would be good, right? It would be good if they say, "Yeah, I was involved in that, but I was converted out of it," like this man was. Or do they know that they need to be? If they, or should they be, or are they still involved in it? And so these is just some things that's coming to my mind.
1974, and I asked if Johnny Todd were the same man he referred to as a converted druid priest in 1974. He said, yes, Johnny Todd is the man. Well, I've had several occasions to talk with Johnny Todd, and I know that Johnny Todd knows what he's talking about when he talks about witchcraft and other occult organizations. The Lord Jesus Christ saved Johnny Todd out of witchcraft 5 years ago, and I have personally talked with Johnny Todd on the basis of Jack Chick's recommendation, having known Johnny Todd.
Okay, so yeah, that would be nice to hear, I guess. Would that be good to hear from these people who have admitted to be witches, that they are now of Christ or something to that effect, or if they've already, openly said it? Because I've heard different things, but I never heard like a. Not saying that I'm gonna hear this guy say it out of his mouth either, but it does give some kind of assurance when you open the gate that way. And hopefully if Jag or these people are tuned in or tune in, they realize like, yo, look, this would be a good way to get more people to understand. But to each their own or how they approach it. But I'm just saying, if you take the approach where it's like, yo, witchcraft is something that I was on, came in the gate, I was doing it, but now I'm doing this. Not just leave it in the air to mystery, right? Because it's built on know, like, and trust. And I know a lot of people on this internet streets don't know me, like me, to trust me, right? Because if you don't know me, how you gonna like me? Right? Because if you know me, you like me. Right? And you can trust me, right? Because you know how I move. Right? But if you trust you and don't know me, then you're not gonna like me. Right? And you will never know me. That's how that works.
Todd now for more than 4 years, and my having known him for some 6 months, I believe that Johnny Todd is a genuinely converted man, saved by the grace of God out of the depths of Satanism. And without taking any more of his time.
Was I converted? I never was a Satanist. So I never was a Satanist. I never went to Baphomet. Uh, never got down with none of that. I've been, I've been baptized. I've been christened. I took a shahada before. I walked many of these walks to. I done did like a pilgrimage type of thing. Uh, a lot in the name of looking to right my ship. No pun intended. You know, so
Time, Johnny, you have until 5 minutes till 10. And is your watch one of those good ones? P5? I have 15 after now. Okay, God bless you, Johnny Time.
Thank you. Before I start today, I'd like to leave a text with everybody. I try to leave it across the country. When I was saved, I knew absolutely nothing about the Bible except some basic teaching that I had picked up by accident when I was about 10 years old in a Nazarene church. When the people that I was being raised by that were in witchcraft found out that I had went to this church, they, as they say, blew their stack. And that was that for going and hearing anything about the Word of God. So everything I know about the Bible, I've learned in the last 5 years. I had some very, very good. And when I told him, it was like 2 days after I was saved, the things that I had come out of and was afraid of and so on, he gave me this scripture as kind of my battle cry text, whatever, throughout the walk and the ministry that I would have later. And I've left it with Christians because in a day and age when we see so much happening around us, we lose sight of who's behind what is happening around us. We lose sight that if it is good and positive, it's the Lord, and if it's evil and rebellious, it's the devil. A lot of times we look at our teenage children and we think that they're the devil, and the teenage children look at the parents and think they're the devil. And we lose sight of really who our enemy is in this warfare that we're in. So I'd like to leave this with you. I'm sure many of you know it, and if you don't, I recommend that you mark it in your Bible and learn it by heart. Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. I didn't bring my Amplified with me today. I was a little rushed as I was late, but the Amplified gives a much clearer description of it.
So, with this being said, is why I was thinking about this stuff so much today. With us losing one of our own, so to speak, right? Again, that's the language that they want us to have in these moments. With us gaining an angel, we could say, right? With one of God's own returning back to them. That takes the load off of us, right? Takes the load off him. As I said now, it gives a better vibe, a better feeling than he died or he passed away or he's no longer with us. Doesn't give off the same ring. That's when you say one of God's own returned back to him, right? Or one of our own returned back to God, right? Because what is somebody gonna say? Oh, he is. You don't go back to God, but you, yeah. What do you know? How do you know what happens? How do you know, right? What happens, right? Or what do you know about what happens if that's not what happens, right? Because God is everywhere at the end of the day. So it ain't for you to tell me that he ain't go back to God or nobody go back to God when they, because we going back to God, breathing in and out is going back to God. Blinking is going back to God. Listening is going back to God. Speaking is going back. Hugging. So, you know,
Many times we see political corruption and things going on, and these are a few things that I'm going to discuss today. But we lose sight of who's behind that political corruption. We looked at Nixon's era. We look at some of the things that.
Right. And so I said all that because when people go, I often wonder why. Like, is it some force that is assisting this process that is of a nefarious design or spirit or energy or command? Right. And this is what, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right, but against spiritual.
That Jimmy Carter's doing today, and we know they're not Christian deeds. We know that they have nothing to do with the Lord, but we kind of scratch them off to the man. We should scratch them off to the enemy, and the man is not the enemy. I came out of a family that was, many of you, how many of you were raised Baptist? We'll start that way. All your life, that's what you were raised from the time you were a little child, a Baptist. How many of you were raised in a Christian home?
I was raised in a
Okay.
Christian home.
Okay, now, so in the Pentecostal churches, which I try to avoid as much as possible, they have a term called homegrown Pentecostal. I guess homegrown Baptist would be just as fashionable. Well, I was a homegrown witch. From the time that I was 5 years old, I knew nothing but witchcraft. I would have known it sooner, but they didn't discuss it with me. They take you very, very young. And even before they start talking about the so-called positive aspects of witchcraft, they talk about the negative aspects of Christianity. So that being a Christian is a miracle, not because I wanted out of witchcraft, but that I would consider Christianity the only way out. Because they brainwash you from very early childhood that the Christian is the most evil being or creature in the universe.
Crazy.
That he wants nothing more than to take the everyday witch out and shoot them, burn them, hang them, whatever he can do, and that they are the most hateful beings that ever existed, on the same level as maybe Adolf Hitler. So this is what I was raised up to believe. And my last name is Todd, but that was just changed about 60 years ago. Until then, our name was Collins. And the Collins family, my direct tree, was responsible, according to witchcraft history and a few history books that I can find also, with bringing witchcraft to the United States. So when I was 14, and some of you might consider that a very early age, but it wasn't. It was kind of a late age for this. I was initiated into organized witchcraft. In other words, I was made what Brother Rasmussen is. I was made a pastor, a minister. I was ordained. In fact, a few years later, when I went to enlist in the service, I didn't have to go because I was drafted exempt, because I was the ordained minister of a legal recognized church. So 4D status for a few people who know what that is. I'm sure Brother Rasmussen does. Ordained ministers are exempt. And I enlisted and went through the service until I got into a little shooting incident in Germany. After I'd come back from Vietnam, I'd re-enlisted and went to Germany. And I was getting ready to be court-martialed. In fact, I had everything down pat. I was as good as gone. We had entered a plea of guilty for a deal of 35 years and then parole, and they wouldn't even consider it. An officer had been killed in the situation, and I was more or less just waiting to be transferred to Leavenworth to serve the time when Witchcraft Church, which I thought was just a little group of people that I belonged to, sent a political member of that church.
He's going in, man. He's slow walking it, but he's going in.
A state senator, two of them, state senator, U.S. senator, and a representative over to Germany, and they took hold of the situation, and 24 hours later, I was a civilian in the United States with all my time, rank, and an honorable discharge, and my court-martial records didn't exist anymore. And all of a sudden, I realized I wasn't in something that just, there was a little more to it than just a religion. And I left New Jersey and went home to Columbus, and I asked my real mother. I have two mothers. I have a foster mother and a real mother. I asked my real mother what I was to do, and she said, here's an envelope of $2,000 and a one-way ticket to New York City. You get there on the next plane, and I'll tell them you're coming. She didn't tell me who she was going to tell was coming or anything. But I flew to New York City, and I spent 6 months learning all new witchcraft. Till then, I had been taught what most of the teenagers learn, and I want to tell the teenagers something here real quick. I'm sure most of you probably go to the school here, but if you were in a regular school, you would meet witches running all over the place. We hear this across the country.
And he's talking with teenagers around. Interesting. In this era, are teenagers ready for this?
Almost every high school has it, especially in California. And they tell the young people lies. They tell them it's ESP. They tell them it's psychic power. They tell them it's spirits of the dead. They tell them everything but what it is. And I was supposed to be a high priest leading a church that had 13 ministers to it, plus a couple hundred people in his congregation. And I believed this. And then all of a sudden, for 6 months, this man, Dr. Buckland, unraveled everything and told me there was a one God, where before we believed there was four. There was one, and his name was Lucifer. And he was very quickly to tell me that wasn't Satan. He didn't want me to get in the ideas that Christians could be telling me the truth. I should have thought then that if they had lied to me for almost 18 years, they were probably lying to me now. But I went ahead and believed it. For 6 months, I took lessons in witchcraft that I didn't even know that things could happen that had happened. And then I was transferred to Los Angeles, good old LA. Can't seem to get away from it. And for 6 months, my foster mother taught me something that your pastor is very familiar with, the political situation of the occult. And all of a sudden, I realized that witchcraft wasn't just spell casting. It had a purpose in mind. And that's when I started getting a little afraid, because when I was 10, as I said, I learned a little about the Bible. It just happened to be all revelations that I learned. And all of a sudden, we were discussing a world ruler that would be personally guided by Lucifer, that could gain control of the world supernaturally and take control of people's minds. Of course, they didn't say there was a defense against this. The way they spoke, everybody was affected. They didn't say anything about the blood of Jesus. But we sat there, and for 6 months, I learned the political structure and the history of witchcraft. And then I was taken to Colorado, and I was placed through an initiation.
Do y'all hear? Do we hear what's happening here? Because I'm letting this thing ride out. He's talking here about his experience. And these people today don't do this. And this is why a lot of times I have an issue with them. Because if you do this, it reveals a level of transparency that would allow for most every other thing you say to go over. What do you think? All right? Because it's always a lot of times victim style. I was this happened to me, that happened to me. Your ass was doing shit. Right? Or nah. You wanted to get into the mix. I know you had your intentions, right? Your intention was to get in there and sing. To inspire. I understand. I wanted the same thing.
Into the sixth realm. And this initiation consisted of a blood sacrifice. And from then on, I was given a territory of 13 states. This didn't happen to be one of them. This belonged to my foster mother. But I was in charge of all the occult, political, and drug activity in 13 states. And this is where I was in 1972 when I met the Lord. What?
All right. All right. You heard? So that's why another reason why I don't trust these people when they talk about God and all of that. Like, I would like more specifics, because like he said, he met the Lord. Okay. And if you don't know ask. Because he not talking about he met Jesus. He not talking about he met God Almighty. Okay. But if you don't know who he's talking about, would you ask?
I, at first, for many years, said by accident, but I've come to realize there's no such thing as an accident when it comes to Jesus. He had everything perfectly planned out. But it was a
Hold on.
combination of a personal witness.
Oh, am I wrong?
I was in charge of all the occult, political, and drug activity in 13
I think
states.
I'm wrong. I think I misunderstood him. I think he does mean that he went to Jesus. But still, you got Sami. That's how I am. I got to be on point with everybody. Everybody, nigga, you shit. Let's go.
And this is where I was in 1972 when I met the Lord. Well, I, at first, for many years, said by accident, but I've come to realize there's no such thing as an accident when it comes to Jesus. He had everything perfectly planned out. But it was a combination of a personal witness to a coffee house, a Jack Chick Publications track, and the movie The Cross and the Switchblade. And a lot of things that, for instance, one Baptist church praying and fasting that I would get saved. They figured if I got saved, maybe the rest of the witches would follow in suit. It didn't exactly happen that way, but it did put a dent in the situation. So that's quickly, very quickly, my testimony. What I want to do today is, for the young people and the adults here, I'd like to throw this thing open to question and answer. Because some of you may have run across situations, some of you may have questions on how to deal with people that are in this. I want to leave.
That's big. That's big. Because that's what it is right now. That's what it is right now. Question and answer. No straight you running your mouth. Let's let people in, bro.
Leave one word with you. The only answer to witchcraft, the only way that anybody's ever succeeded in getting out has been through the blood of Christ. Everybody else who's ever tried to get out of witchcraft, and I want to leave this with you, witchcraft is real and supernatural. I remember the minister who witnessed to me said that until he found his daughter in it, he was always, and he was a Baptist pastor, was always raised to believe that witches were fables that flew around on broomsticks on Halloween night. And all of a sudden he woke up and found it was very real. And if you want to find out the power behind it and how it can be defeated, I suggest the 16th chapter of Acts. Paul handled it very nicely. And it's one thing that I can testify to all the teenagers considering the lies that you're born with witchcraft, which is the lie that they give you. When I was saved, and the pastors there at the Baptist church called the demons that were inside me out. If the power came from demons, I don't need the demons.
Again, this is for educational purposes only, entertainment purposes, as well as educational purposes, I should say. Fair use, utilize under the fair use, with the fair use in mind, right? So, yeah. John Todd. I first heard about John Todd back in the day. I'm not sure if this was the exact talk, but I definitely heard him talking about some things dealing with the music and when they doing the vinyls and how they gotta do incantations and all kind of things. And I believed them. Because why would a man come out and say all this for what? And not only that, when you look at things from a different perspective, so to speak, or from an alternate view, like there's a view that is painted and then there's other ways that you can look at it, like abstract art. And when you look at things from various perspectives, different vantage points, you can get the sense that there's something fishy, so to speak, in the air.
So before you teenagers start fooling around with the astrology charts and the Ouija board, check out the 18th chapter of Deuteronomy and find out you'll pick up a demon from doing it. And you pick up one, you keep on going. My foster mother wrote a book, and she said, doing one spell or practicing one seance in witchcraft is like jumping off of a tall mountain or a skyscraper. There's no turning back. It is the strongest addiction that I know. Dave Wilkerson said that he had seen people go through withdrawal from drugs many times, but seeing one witch go through withdrawal from the occult shattered his mind.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. This is heavy. Again, JustDee show. In some weird way, you inspired me to be here where I am right here, I guess, right, to a certain degree. Right. Again, I hope that you recognize that I'm not your enemy. Never intended to offend you. Never intended for you to believe that I was jacking your content. I hope you see that I gave you a shout out in the beginning. I hope you're a real one because I know you. I gave you vibes that I'm not real, but I showed you who I am. Show and like you showed me you've been involved in the church. You showed people all that, and you was involved in these, various things that you know. But yeah, like I showed you 11 years of like me on YouTube. So not jacking nobody content. So I'm gonna start now. I never got a coin. I'm not gonna get a coin for making no Jaguar right video. Unless I interview them people and stuff like that, I'm not ever thinking I'm gonna ever see a coin. And if I do, it's deserve it, right? I've been on here, I got enough joints on here to see some change, but they then switched the rules up. So it's all good. But again, I was trying to jack your video. And I wish you the best with whatever it is you decide to do. Wellness, health, and strength to you. All right, it's back to John Todd. I'm not sure if man is still alive or not. I know he was dropping them jewels. And this talk right here is heavy.
Help thousands of people through withdrawal from witchcraft and withdrawal from drugs.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had to play it to get remembrance of what was going on. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I wonder why some of these people look how they look after being out of the spotlight or whatever for a minute. Some of them be looking crazy. Is this the reason?
And once you've seen the withdrawal that a person goes through from being in witchcraft, you'll think that drugs is something you practice in kindergarten. It's that violent and that destructive.
And no, the person doesn't have to be rich and famous for them to be in this thing, is it? Do they? But they probably would be if they start to figure stuff out, right?
Without Christ, especially. And what I started to say was, nobody has ever succeeded in getting away because they simply will kill you with a spell. Now, Brother Rasmussen knows from testimony from other people who have been around, they haven't been able to do this to me or anybody else that has ever gotten out. A few people have been killed physically that have gotten out, that were Christians, that got out of witchcraft. And they've tried this with me and my wife and so on, but they've never succeeded, and we're still very, very much alive. But we have to depend wholly upon Jesus to stay in that situation. And before any of the young people decide that witchcraft's a groovy thing, they will tell you you can get out anytime you want. But once you're in, there's a bounty on your head should you ever leave. And I don't care if you're 13 or 14 years old, the bounty starts at $10,000, and they send a professional. They don't send an everyday person. If you're wondering why I'm still alive, it isn't easy. I've got the bullet holes in the buildings and the bombed out buildings and everything else to the record, and I stand that Jesus kept us alive in every situation. You don't walk into a building as it blows up in your face and walk back out without a scratch on you unless the Lord is there to protect you. And this occult is very dangerous. Chick Publications did The Broken Cross, which will be on sale back here today. The only track that I know of that has saved people out of witchcraft. And they did this book, and because of it, they moved to another building with bulletproof glass and bomb-proof walls. That's the situation. The artist draws his stories at home now in a dwelling that they don't know where he is, rather than try and drive to work and be in danger. And Jack, his staff is always on him to be more careful because they're trying to drive him off the road and stuff. We try to get him to drive a Cadillac that might stand up a little, but he says the Lord can protect him in his Toyota as well as the Cadillac, so he keeps on driving the Toyota. But that's the situation. It is no joke. It is a serious situation. The occult gives up less people to conversion than any other thing. And it's not because they don't want out. They desperately want out. We went to Minneapolis to where they had a convention. We took 10,000 of the Broken Cross there to distribute free, and they were so afraid of this book coming, they canceled the convention. Rather than let it fall in the hands of the people who would be coming from across Europe and across the United States to attend. But people came into our meetings there that came anyway, and they listened, and when they were done, they asked my wife and myself and other ministers, if you can put us in a safe place of protection, we'll come out. They want out. They know that Christianity is the only way, but they're physically afraid to come out. You think the mafia has fear? For those that have been watching The Godfather or something, it has no fear compared to the occult people coming after you. But we are believing that we will have this situation. Brother Rasmussen will be one of the few people in the United States who will know how to get converts to the refuge that we're preparing. So we're preparing a place not for them to go permanently and hide, but for them to grow in the word and in physical strength so they can go out on their own and live. And Jack Chick will be putting in the back of all his publications on the occult the phone numbers of the different things, and you'll be one of the phone numbers that people can reach and say, we have a convert that's been won out of the occult. How do we get him to this refuge place? And he will be one of the few people in the United States that will know where this place is in the mountains. It'll be that well guarded. So we just ask your prayers and your questions now if you've got some. Yeah. Well, 12 years old girls are big, more or less. They've been known to get down to 10, but they usually start at 12 or 13 and go to 25. And for the people who like to hitchhike, this is how they pick them all up. And of course, the police will just tell the parents the kids run away from school. They use them for sexual and for sacrifice. You're in LA County here, right? The LA County Sheriff's Department has a very secret undercover thing. I don't even know if you can find out if it exists, but I talked to them. It's called the Occult Squad. They told me in '73 that they found 35 bodies of girls in Los Angeles County that year, and I talked to them in December, that they knew to be human sacrifice, which they listed as rape cases to keep it from the public. The statistics that came in so far this year are close to 125, and the year's not even over. Now that's girls that have been used for human sacrifice. And if you'll notice, there's quite a few rape cases that happened around Halloween that are in the news right now. And from what we can find out, the circumstances that each death fits human sacrifice. But you'll never hear it, that's the reason. We turned in 4 different people that were responsible in the area that I knew about to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and they arrested all 4. They got convictions, and in every conviction, they listed it as rape, killing, and they knew better. Yeah. Yes, it is. It's listed in the 18th chapter of Deuteronomy as converting with necromancy or familiar spirits. It's clairvoyancy. Anything that is psychic is a counterfeit of God's power by the devil. And it was, the woman who was giving fortunes in the 16th chapter of Acts, that was clairvoyancy. When Paul cast the demon out, she couldn't tell fortunes anymore.
Yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, so basically, if you pay attention to what Buddy is saying, a lot of the stuff that these people be talking about right now today don't line up. This is another reason why. See, I'm not, they think they look at me and look, I'll put the camera on. Right? Give me a second here. Now, mind you, I hadn't slept. It's 5:55 a.m. All right? But that's me. Right? I mean, aside from the gray, I don't think I look like I'm 99. Right? You know, like I think when I just got a fresh cut, it was a young man that said, "Yo, you look like you about 20 some years old." I was like, "Nah, this is crazy. Crazy that he would say that." Like, nigga, I hear you though. I don't think about age. I call myself ageless. Uh, but I say that to say that this man is speaking about some stuff. Let me bring it back.
Listed it as rape, killing, and they knew better. Yeah.
Right, because I like, and yeah, I was speaking about my age because it's like, yo, when people talk about, yo, I can see this and see that, and this and the third, I'm like, yo, that's the Bible stuff. Like, it's a blend of everything. People is all now. I'm not saying you got to be a Bible thumper, but what your foundation just can't be, or it could be whatever it is. But I'm looking to see what your foundation is, and why isn't your foundation what is solid foundation? Right? Like a Bible when you're a woman, especially if you're not with a man, because now you're just too much, you're doing too much for me now, right? Because the Bible don't, you can't, you can't have step when it comes to the natural laws, right? You could do a lot with other stuff and argue certain things, but when it comes to natural laws, you can argue with whoever you want to argue, but when it comes to dealing with certain guys, you're not that man. Listen, we all know what time it is. 99% of them on the same page, you know. And if we're not, it's about understanding it or overstanding or standing or where you stand and knowing and knowing what can assist you with forward progress and what's going to aid you or add to regressive progress or regression, I should say. Right? Okay. So I'm gonna make me some tea. I'm gonna make some tea. I'm gonna let this play for a minute.
Yes, it is. It's listed in the 18th chapter of Deuteronomy as converting with necromancy or familiar spirits. Is clairvoyancy, anything that is psychic is account.
So people might say, "Yo, you talking about sports betting, man? You talking about you know what team is gonna win? You got the locks?" No, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, and I'm not trying to say, "Oh, because he's saying that that's something wrong with that. That is the reason." No, we can't predict the future. If we did, then we, man, please, we wouldn't be here. Yeah, we can predict the future.
Counterfeit of God's power by the devil. And it was, okay, the woman who was giving fortunes in the 16th chapter of Acts, that was clairvoyancy. When Paul cast the demon out, she couldn't tell fortunes anymore. That settles it right there. Yeah. Superstition is a Christian form of witchcraft. Okay. Okay, she asked me if superstition was a form of witchcraft. It's a Christian form of witchcraft. One thing I want to throw at the young people real quick. In the occult stores, they don't sell Ouija boards, in most of them, in the serious ones. They call it a Christian instrument. They say Christians are the only ones stupid enough to use it. Witches know that the devil runs it. They know more than some of the Christians. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. You want an answer on that? Oh, I'm glad you asked me about that. Yes, I do. Physical evidence. One, so take the exorcism first. The rite that the Catholic Church uses for exorcism, they have changed a few words. Just, I think, about 6 words. Is the witchcraft rite of exorcism. It is 8,000 years old. The Catholic Church is not that old. Okay? Next, on the apparitions, it's the same thing as the Spiritual Church of America or any of the witchcraft organizations. It's called auras. And if you'll notice, none of them are pure white. Now, coming out of the occult, I know the system of collars. And the principality, there's 7 of them. And all the demons under them go by the collar of their leader, their generals. And the occult demon Regia appears as a blue snake or a blue mist. I've heard thousands of reports, including Jean Dixon, that her guides, her spirit guides, familiar spirits, are blue in nature when they communicate with her. And of course, the red is lust and so on. It's a long list. But the saints or apparitions, I want to get into this thing real quick. The Catholic Church's altar, except for the Atame or the knife, is the exact altar of witchcraft. And according to the reports I can get on the Nicene Council, most of the ministers at the Nicene Council that set that heresy up were from the Temple of Diana, which is witchcraft. So,
all right, I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I'll tell you this: when you remove somebody's chat from your feed, when you upload your live, and you put their comments on your live feed, those comments don't go away. And your reactions to them don't go away either. So you can probably go and edit the video where you're asking, is Steve Coakley a Boule member? If you want to, you don't have to, but I'm just letting you know that's just because of what I'm trying to show you is that I ain't coming with no man. I ain't come to do nothing but add value and add value to the conversation. Because I was in a whole other room and I'm hammering the word Boule. I'm like, you're not saying Boule, are you? Like my computer's in the other room, and I'm like, I've been thinking about this joint all day outside of what I was dealing with. And you were talking about it. I'm like, this is not the first time that I've been on or been around you, and you've been tapping into things that I feel like been on my brain. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. That's why I resonate with your channel. That's why I pull up all the time. But you take it as me pulling up, and you're like, yo, why is nigga pulling up all the time? Or maybe you feel some type of way. I don't know. Maybe you like me. I don't know. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I'm just saying that my intentions was never to get close to you, try to steal your content, gang. I don't even. This ain't. It's not even my cup of tea. But I deals with it. I'm here with it, and I'm learning. So let's get back into my bag. It's to see and Jaguar and them are saying that these kind of people, right? That's in music, was taught stuff, but they're not going in depth. And are you bringing people back to John Todd? Bring people back to John Todd. Let people hear this, let the people to see what's going on. Because look, this is what's important now. And this is what I'm saying. My video was 9 years ago. I was suppressed, right? I got into talking about battle rap because regular hip hop was way too mainstream and a lot of craziness going on all the time. Warring and fighting and dying. And, you know, Prodigy's not here, right? The big bro Sean P not here. Like, wellness is key in this day and time. Mental, physical, spiritual.
everything, the bell, the incense, the whole ritual, their holy water is a salt water mixture. This comes from witchcraft, which they do exorcism with. Everything that they do comes out of witchcraft, and they can't get around it. Yeah. Okay. Did everybody hear that question? Okay. He wants me to explain the Council of 13. I'll explain what that is, if you were probably wondering. And what their purpose or thrust is. Okay. All right. If you'll all, just give you a second, reach in your billfold. You can put it in the offering plate later. Reach in your billfold and take out a $1 bill real quick. We'll settle the whole thing. I'll let you ask your federal government later how this got on the $1 bill. Okay. On the back of the $1 bill, you'll see the crest with the pyramid in it. Now, Dr. Rasmussen has upstairs the whole crest. You only have the words left out on the block. But there are sections. His is a little behind time. There's a few new organizations. His dates back to the 1800s. But that pyramid in the Illuminati consists of 3 pyramids and a sphinx, but their crest is this crest. The Illuminati is the occult organization that we belong to. It means the light bearers. The witch is called Mariah, the conquering wind. But it's the capstone above. The eye is Lucifer. The triangle of the capstone is the tribunal of the Rothschild family, which is called the Holy Family. They lead the Illuminati. They would be Paul, Peter, for the Catholics, all the saints and Mary and everybody rolled into one, and the Pope. They are the voice. The doctrine of the occult teaches that Lucifer comes and sits at their dining room table. When they see the table, they leave 13 chairs out, and the 13th one is for Lucifer to sit in himself. They set him a plate and everything.
It's crazy.
Now, I've been there in the mansion, and I've seen this go on. And they, in turn, direct to the top block of that pyramid. And that top block is the Council of 13 of the Grand Druid Council, which I was a member of. Now, the Druid system of government is not that the politicians run everything. It is the same system that Rome had. The priests let whoever wants to rule the government, but the priest must rule the ruler. Now, I'll let that sink on you for a while. And I want to throw this in. Will cause a lot of controversy, I'm sure, but it's a fact. Since the time of Woodrow Wilson, including him, there has never been a president of the United States that was not an Illuminati, that did not belong. Now, that'll shatter a few people's ideas about a Christian president right now, but it's a fact anyway. And the Grand Druids, although they are just supposedly everyday people like me, you look at me now, I'm this way. I was a different way when I was in witchcraft. And part of my authority was whatever governors, senators, or political people were in my area took direct political orders from me, which I in turn did not think up, but simply translated to them from the order.
Just had to stop it because I know it's been going on for a minute. Buddy, it's tough. Hold on. I think I found something here. Hold on. I'm gonna have it. Hold on.
If I go to anybody's channel, share the content from their channel. And it's like, bruh, what the fuck?
Hold on. My fault, y'all. All right. All right. I hope y'all can hear that. Because my rebuttal, there's 15 channels doing that right now, bro. There's 15 channels doing that. If I go online, if I go look right now, there's 15 channels doing that. Can you hear that? You want to weed out you got 16 viewers? Come on, bro. We said what? Traveling God. Oh, that ain't me. How you know what I'm talking about? Because of the title? Steal your content. See, she's bugged out. I'm sorry to say. Like, I'm listening to this joint, my hair all in front of my face. Let me put this camera on, gang. Hold on, yo. All right, so I'm listening to this joint over the phone. Bro, larger all right, so you got 5,000 subscribers, whatever. I'm not. This is not what I do. And I come on your channel. I come to show love, bro. I come to show love. That's all I'm saying. Because you didn't let me on stage. And like I said, instead of you assuming that I'm trying to take over or whatever you're assuming, why didn't you just ask me? Right? You didn't have nothing to say to me when I was sitting in the back of your channel for 25 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You start skipping over my stuff that I was posting. Like, I had shit to say, stuff that was on my chest. I wanted to get out. So I used my channel to say it. And yeah, if it's pertaining close, listen to how I opened up my video. Opened up my video mentioning you to go to your video. So think about that. Information that I didn't research. When I put Steve Coakley in your chat, you asked who that was. You said, is he a Boule member? You understand? So wait, where is that? Steve Coakley name sitting up there. Let me go. For 2 minutes, what I wrote is sitting there. Hold on. Let me see if I can go to it on her. There you go. Look. To me, it does not make sense. Thank you so much for tuning in. He said Steve Coakley. Was he a member? Thank you so much for tuning in. He said Steve Coakley. You heard it right, Steve Coakley. Was he a member of the Boule? Or is he a current member? because this is all new to her. So this is all new to her, but this is information that I went on my channel to speak about that I didn't research. And I'm telling you who the man who put the information out is, for the most part, to me. Like if there's someone, like I mentioned earlier, if someone predates Steve Coakley, then put me on to who that is. But I didn't, but I know Steve Coakley and I know John Todd. And I believe John Todd might have been out there earlier. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't have the dates. But here, here's a read up here. John Todd was a man who was converted out of the occult into Christianity in the early 70s. He was within within, I guess it must be say within it, but I wrote in. All right. I consider a lot of what he says to be authentic, even though some of it isn't entirely accurate. I present it here for you to make up your own mind about it. Fair. Fair. I come from a family. Look at the comments here now. Come from a family of Masons. My life has been interesting. This is very real. I feel bad for people who laugh or don't believe. This man gave his life for truth. Yes, they killed him, but they martyred him. He will live forever in glory. Wow. Two years ago, I've been referencing John Todd for years now. He's one of the first to expose the music industry. Those that study music have to study this man. Indeed. So I hope that you're learning. I hope people are to tap in and do learn and do get to know about these things and these people. All right. And JustDee, if you block me, um, you know, it's all good. But yeah, I would not steal your content. I could go out, I could go live for 24 hours a day. So if I was to stay live for 24 hours and you come on, are you, I don't know. That was a freestyle though. That was doing too much. What I just said was a little. You know what I'm saying? I would take from you, shorty.
obviously you're not on this show for any positive contribution.
Well,
Just what is your game?
I'll tell you exactly what I did. And perhaps I'm foolish for it now because I realize where you're coming from. I went down south to Forsyth County, Georgia, and I marched with about 25,000 beautiful people, both black and white. And thank God you weren't there, because my stomach would have turned and I would have had to throw up all over you. If
You don't know that I wasn't there.
Well, I didn't see you, and thank God I didn't. Because if I hadn't done anything in the last 20 years except stand up to animals like you, then there's a place in heaven for me.
Well, see, what's the problem with the
Yo, man, it's crazy.
black-Jewish relationships across the country
And
now?
you're
is
the
that
problem.
We have
You
to
are
admit
the problem.
that there has been no violence on the part of blacks towards whites, probably even though there's reason for some violence. And I think by exacerbating the racial tensions,
What do you got against
I hope that
Christians,
you all know, Pat and Mr. Braden, that on the national level in Congress, there's an attempt to pass anti-group defamation laws. In fact, Newsweek on June 6th did an article about it, where out of Hofstra University has come the desire to outlaw racial slurs. And those people that were alluded to in the article said that they were going to spend this summer setting the climate to make it possible to outlaw racial slurs and make a gentleman like myself a criminal, though I've never been arrested in my life.
Well,
So
Mr.
it appears as if we're being used to set the climate in America.
Mr. Coakley,
Men's kicking their teeth in.
what gestures have you made toward racial understanding and equality?
Well, first, it should be said that during the time that I was in the mayor's office, not one single person accused me of abusing the power that I had within my control. In fact, it strikes me as strange. The Jewish Federation in Chicago used to pass confidential documents to me to take to the mayor prior to anyone even seeing them. That surely doesn't sound like a person who was mistrusted. And I could tell you that in Chicago, we're coming forward with blacks who really represent the black community and disregarding those blacks chosen by Jews for these dialogue ventilation sections. We're coming forward with some real leadership. We're coming out to propose a research project where we can go back to the beginning of time and trace the relationships between blacks and Jews to assess just where this problem started. It didn't start in the civil rights movement. It didn't start in the early 1900s when they started the NAACP and Urban League. It started back in the beginning of time. And unless we have this
Sauce them up, man. The, the guys known to sauce them up, man. Let this thing go past so we can get some of this good. We were looking at this joint earlier. I hope they volume it works
And to be
because
in,
they be
my
trying to check these videos.
unusual situation.
All right, the mic was just volume.
Excuse me. I guess what I'm essentially doing, I think, a unusual situation that I certainly didn't plan to be in. My mother told me that in her case, the Lord Jesus Christ, in her case, or Jesus Christ, I've been told lately by, because I am studying the Quran some, that the Lord is not a word I should be using when I mention Jesus Christ. But in any event, that I'm in a situation, I've been placed in a situation, and that you don't always end up doing in your life what you plan to do. Sometimes you're called to do things. At this point, I'm trying to find I think through my experiences, basically what I am able to talk on, and I think I've gotten some firsthand knowledge on, is our place, what's happening to us, and what the media is essentially doing to us. And I'm trying to find a way to mobilize action at this point. There's something about this perceived infamy. I just got invited to go and speak to Oxford, of all places, in England. So I'm going there next week to speak in Oxford, and I'm trying to get my thesis together, or at least get it organized So I'll be able to best communicate the things that I think I need to communicate. And I think that quite possibly.
All right. Here we go. Commercials, right? Again, this is fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, and all that, and all that, and all that. Since we got to go through all that. See, back in the day, it just mirrored this joint. Not even mirror, just copy, throw it up on the channel, give notice of where it came from or what have you. But I want to talk more about what is going on here. And I'm looking at this and trying to keep an open mind about OJ here, right? Knowing that he's an actor, also an entertainer, which is an actor, athlete, which is also an entertainer. And so, can they be trusted is what would be coming to mind from experience, right? But at the same time, I'm watching him in this meeting, and I'm like, okay, if he is just being the man, like he says, I think he's being as honest as he can be. So I'm waiting for him to get to the point. I'm waiting to see what comes of what he is speaking on here.
Communicate, and I think that quite possibly all of this obviously means something, this thing that I've gone through. I focus on the media. I see what the media has been have done to me. Obviously, I see what it's done to everyone. I've paid a lot of attention to Marlon Brando a few weeks ago. I don't understand why nobody tried to intellectualize exactly what he was saying there. They were able, the Jewish community was able to focus on shutting him up. In 3 days, they had the man literally on his knees apologizing. Yet at the same time, we had some individuals, one damaging remarks, racial remarks, when they talked about the jury in my case, that the minute that they saw this group of people, they knew they couldn't get a verdict. I think about my sister who's sitting right here. I think about my mother, and I think about that jury because I saw a bunch of my sisters and mothers on that jury, and I was thinking, how could these people get away with saying that? I thought that was a slap in the face to every Black person in America, that they were saying because they're Black, that they can't make an informed decision, that they would let, if the evidence showed a murder go free. And I wanted an apology. Right. And I realized that's because, well, in some areas we were getting that. And I realized that, I don't know, some way we haven't been able to mobilize like the Jewish community has mobilized. I see a commercial, you see it, a movie starts.
The reason is because Dr. Sebi said it best, and I hate to point him out because the point of it is we always point each other out, and we don't move as a we. Dr. Sebi says when a Chinese man creates a medicine, the Chinese man creates a medicine, not the one individual Chinese man. Like, it's not like Yao Ming. When Yao Ming wins in NBA, China wins in NBA, not just Yao Ming. Part of my throat. And so this is what happens with us as individuals in this world where we are a people. Right? We enter into these worlds as individuals. O.J. Simpson is not part of the Black community because there is no real Black community. There's no unity in the Black for the Black because there's no, that's not a nationality per se. All right? There's China's a nationality. UK is a nationality of now it is, right? Like, but say Scottish, or you say English, or you say Australian, or you say Norwegian, or you say Hawaiian. Like, we get down to the states, we don't even consider our states as each other as one as a state, when most places are really like about the unity of the people. We are a mosh pit of people over here, and then our people who look like us, we don't consider ourselves all one, and that's why we don't have the unity. They who move and look like each other, they consider themselves a unit. They are a part of a unit. They have a union. We don't have a union. That's my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
That they call the great white hype. Yeah. And there's a line that he says that when I was in the theater and I saw unity, it was like jumbo shrimp, you know.
Wow,
And I mean,
it's crazy.
that has stuck with me, and I say it's supposed to be funny, but we should
But
be
they might say,
laughing
"Oh,
at.
but
And
you had a white wife, so what did we talk about?" But doesn't matter if you got a white wife, right? That has nothing to do with nothing. Still got a black mama, right? Still, the babies are still his babies, right? All right.
So what I'm trying to do, and I'm spending some time with my brothers over here, Minister Tony.
Like we got rebuttals and stuff. I got rebuttals for rebuttals and rebuttal. Everybody can rebuttal each other all day long. Just thinking though, like we don't have that unity because what if not? It doesn't have to be him, but it has to be us. We have to have an us, so that way there won't be a him. And that's where we have the Trayvons. We have these different things. If these things are, let's say, not, you know, if everything was everything, when we have these situations, it's about the us. It's like, yo, hold on. If you did that to him, I know you would do that to me mentality. So therefore, you wouldn't think about doing that to him because you know he's out here on a limb because you don't care about him. And so you're not going to do that to this person over here because he's of a people. And what people are you are a part of? That's the question. Oh, shoot.
Who's really been helping me, Mabel over here, pardon me? Yes. Yeah, who have I've been meeting with, trying to find a way to mobilize this, try to find a way, what I call, there's a thing I call in the legal system. When I was down in county jail, sometimes your eyes are open. I think what I've done is something that, what my life has done, I should say, it's something that's happened with a lot of black men in America. I grew up in the projects. You know, no one has to tell me you act black. Hey, I grew up in the projects. I know about being black. I am black. Most of the causes, once I started getting over at the end of the 60s, when Mr. after the riots here and everywhere, when Mr. Johnson, the president, said he had a directive to corporate America, we have to do something. We have to hire more blacks. Hey, OJ was the man. They hired me to be the first major spokesman for corporate America. And what I did was, over the years, I've been involved in the community financially. But what we tend to do is try, you were talking about it with these groups, the Brule, you tend to find yourself protecting your place in society. So what I thought is I can send money to the links. I can send money to my neighborhood. And, you know, I was involved, but you tend to think that you're immune to some things. You know what's happening out there is still happening, but you're hoping it change, and you're really fooling yourself, saying that everything's changed. Until I got down there to CJ, with county jail, which I now call CGPJ, county colored people jail, because there's all blacks and browns that I saw down there. And one of the things that I want to focus on is what I like to call selective prosecution. That we have a situation here where I noticed that the statistics of who commit crimes in this country is pretty indicative to what our population is. But who they decide to prosecute, it's totally out of whack because they're prosecuting us and the Hispanics. They're not prosecuting the whites. And we do this how I mean, this unity thing. I just don't know how to go about it doing it. I didn't know for the last 3 or 4 months. I've been formulating
How do we go about doing it?
a lot of thoughts, getting a lot of information. One of the reasons I'm here to listen to Brother Copeland is try to get some ideas that I could take over to Oxford with me, but I didn't know a way to my forum or my venue or my microphone here in this country. What am I going to do? Who am I going to mobilize? I can talk now. People listen. Oh, well, not BET. I'm talking about these Larry King is the name. They'll let me go on Larry King. They'll let me go on to Rollo if I talk about Bruno Magli shoes and gloves. Right. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear the fact that, hey, you had to love. Well, I can get very technical here, but they don't want it. They don't want me when I. Yeah. You had 6 people on both of those jury, 12 people that voted for acquittal for those boys. 12 people, even though they went outside to reload, to come in, to finish their mother off. Didn't one person in the news say that that was a racist decision? That
is that is a huge shout out to OJ for that. But that's a mic drop. No funny.
that was racially motivated, but they're able.
Not for nothing. That was heavy. Let me bring that back. That was crazy. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Was a racist decision. That was racially motivated. Other off, didn't one person in the news say that that was a racist decision? That was racially motivated. But they're able to say that about my jury, and they're able to get away with it because we haven't been able to. Evidently, we haven't been able to mobilize and put pressure on them. I believe that we have a constitution in this United States that I'm noticing applies to everybody. I sat there and watched this boy, Ted Kennedy, stand in moral judgment of Clarence Thomas. And I was saying, how can that happen? But this is America. He was convicted of nothing. I sat there and watched this guy, John Wayne Bobbitt, who this man can go out, he can speak anywhere he want to speak, he can make tapes, and they will not even let me talk. I can't even buy advertising for my video, so I'm in the community. I'm trying to hang around people that I think can better educate me to the things. Thank you. I think I have a unique opportunity here, and I'd like to be able to take advantage of it, and I'd like to not possibly once again let you down. Thank you.
All right. Very interesting. As OJ was looking to learn from the late Steve Coakley on how to express himself and his ideologies from where he is in his life at the moment. And he has views of unity with the browns and the black people. And don't get it twisted, in Europe, there's plenty brown and black people over there too. Some of them relatives of us over here. Man, I forget OJ passed away. I forgot. Let me look at this real quick. Going back 12 years, back to before me dropping the YouTube video.
insistence and the climate setting that brought about the death of Malcolm X. For both of those men.
Hold on. That's the OG Cook.
And institutions. So what we're talking about is, why haven't you heard of those people who are in the secret society? It's because the people who you look to, who you would most suspect would tell you, have sworn that they never will. And because of that, that leaves the sub-leadership, the other group of people that you like a lot, that leaves them to tell you, the heads of the various organizations as you know them. But if you listen to them, they have never said of these black men, for that they did not know. Which means that Malcolm, we know, knew of these men. We know Marcus Garvey knew of these men because their crowning most outstanding achievement.
Just wanted to stop this to say that if I was trying to get views, I would go interview a rapper on my page. I know rappers, I know famous people. I can go outside, I could call them, I could shoot a video live, do an interview, and I would get hundreds of views. I'm not doing this shit for views. I'm doing this shit because I was in pain today, and this is one of the ways I relieve stress, being around truth and power. So it just so happened to correlate with what someone who I admire online type of content, and they in a very peculiar space at the moment, and don't gotta trust people. That's cool, but I'm not a content thief. I wouldn't be doing this 3 hours, 4 hours later if it was just about me trying to thief content and have nobody paying attention to it live. And I'm gonna leave it up here. And this is not content that people want to be talking about. Not even the people talking about the stuff that's dealing with this is talking about these people right now, for real. So I'll be in these chat rooms, and I'll be putting these people's name in the chat. Steve Coakley, go look him up, go research him. I'll be go download these videos, because this is history. This is our story about the mysteries that they try to make my story. And I ain't with that lie story. All right. So we need to document the real story. Right.
Was the physical elimination and castigation of Marcus Garvey, and the insistence and the climate setting that brought about the death of Malcolm X. For both of those men, international in perspective.
And again, I'm not saying everything he's saying is 100. He's talking from his perspective, but a lot of what he's talking about, in my perspective, is on, and the energy is on in regards to what's going on right now. And there's no way in the world I'm not gonna listen to a man that's talking about these people that's out here moving crazy. Feel me? But it's hard to intro this. Hard to intro this is like you want to go through it. So I might just do a joint where it's like I just go through one whole joint one day, 2 hours, just sit and just go through it, break it down, maybe spend 2-3 hours on it. But I'll be busy with other things, And again, a lot of this info, I don't build with too many people about this stuff because they can't go to these levels of information. So it's like, it's been pushed to the side, pushed to the back. But when all this stuff is coming about, like I'm just now remembering some of these things that was going on in the 90s. And the traumatic era of the 90s, man, we lost Biggie in the 90s. You know how that feels for being from Brooklyn, being from Bed-Stuy, being from Nostrand Avenue, right? It's documented. I've got videos of me outside on Ocean Avenue, Hancock Street. Biggie Smalls rock up and down my block. I'll tell you stuff that some of these artists ain't never been asked because people don't know that. Like, that's why I like views. I could interview big rapper right now, big DJs right now, ask them questions they never been asked about them growing up, and take that clip and throw it on Instagram, and it goes stupid. Going on TikTok, it'll go stupid. I'm not doing shit for you, even though I could, but that's not. I'm not, the energy that I got right now ain't for this. I'm doing other things. But it's interesting though. It's definitely on my mind now though. Yeah, it got me started, man.
And insight were a threat to the very whites that they're sworn to protect. You don't
Those that listen get game from me, man.
get killed for any other reason than jeopardizing the whites of the whites that run the world. Martin King, who was a boule, met the bullet not for the civil rights thing, but for the international war thing that got 2 Kennedy boys killed also. So we're looking at a group of men who have protected murderers. So what is the crime of this boule? As we allege, as many of them say, why do you step to my doorstep and accuse me of these things, of which I know not? But their so-called limited
Yeah, that that's so powerful. And see, this is another reason why I can be skeptical, or I am skeptical of certain people who deny. And when it's not a thing about denying at the time, it's about really now dissemination. However, this is the internet, so I got to give people that benefit where it is the internet and it can get spooky. So you don't want to be saying certain things if you can be implicated in certain realms. So it's touch and go, really, though, with what you hear over this web with people who are out there, right? So, like, you see how OG was talking. He had to be very choice with his words. So I'm not one for that, really. Like, that's why I'm not on there and on platforms, I believe, because from young you couldn't bridle me. So, I was auditioning for stuff. I did a lot of stuff as a youth, as a child, like a child prodigy. So, I've seen this thing from a different view. I have people in my family who doing big things from before I was even born. So, and not to take nothing away from nobody, I'm just giving you some of my experience because I want to give you a picture of when I came into understanding that things ain't always what it seemed to be. And it was from a very young age. When I'm hearing adults talk about politics being a reason that can stop somebody from making a move, this is before I ever heard of a Steve Coakley, years before I even heard of a YouTube. So when I do get a wind of a Steve Coakley, it's like another pin. It's from A to B. This is now B in a sense, right? Or C with Todd and him and John Todd. It's like we just call them B. But A to me is when hearing as a youth, right, before my teenage years, about politics being a reason that someone could potentially not succeed. Not saying that they got the skills, they got the talent, they got the drive, but they just not gonna get the push. And the term that they utilized was politics. So politics can mean bully. Can it? Can't it? I believe it can. The reason I believe it can is because he just said his name, Martin King. What was he into? Besides the religion, he was also into the dealing with some international things, and that's polls, right? So you might think politics is whether I'm being the senator or governor, but it's dealing with policy and also the polls. What are the polls? Pole position. You're familiar with pole position? All right.
Understanding is in fact defiance and woven into the oath that they swear that they will never even act like they know who these people really are. We have challenged these people on the radio, TV, in the street on numerous occasions. Kurt Smoke, the mayor of Baltimore, Jesse Jackson, the head of the Rainbow Coalition, Cecil Murray, all the way down the line. These people that we have challenged have never been able to stand up and honestly turn around and say the truth to the matter. And we understand that. So our job is to come to you with the information so that you can make up your mind. There are several affirmations about this process that we must agree to. A Greek is a fraud. A Greek is a fraud. Now, there are a lot of people going to hear this all over the country, and they want to know, do you understand that a
All right, so y'all get that. You hear what's going on here? But he said that Greek is a fraud.
Greek is a fraud? So I want you to holler out if you think that a Greek is a fraud. A Greek is a fraud. Oh, let me try.
Now, see that? You see what that does? See why this is important? Because this man hasn't been here in some time. And we don't have these movements where people do this. And we need it, in my opinion. What do you think? You think that it's imperative that we have mantras, things that we say that put us in a space of awareness so that way we take action to better our situation? I think that if we do, we could have more greatness from ourselves, because would we be being more of ourselves because we wouldn't be giving our energy to things outside of our cultures and ourselves? Because, all right, so for example, we are from all over the place, yo. Some people consider themselves to be Indian, and I have been one known to consider myself to be Indian. Partly, I would be an Indian, but what's the limits on where you're from? Some people believe that they're from Africa. I believe these brothers may believe that they are African. I don't know. I don't believe that everyone is African. And this is my belief, just as you believe what you believe. Some people believe that the earth was all one landmass, and that's Pangea, but they still subscribe to out of Africa theory. And I just think that people are from all over the place. People have been from all over the place. Because why would there be things all over the place, but not people? Like there's animals all over the place. There's ants, bugs, birds, like different things all over the place. But there's a place in the world where everybody was from, and then everybody just went all over different places from there. Like can't be that don't add up to me. When traveling is not that easy from place to place, and then why isn't there a consistent? Well, isn't that still the case where people are just being born there from there and then just sprouting out and going everywhere? You know, I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. That's probably not a bad question, but like a question that wouldn't refute the out of Africa theory. That probably wouldn't be a question that, but I think it kind of does. But and I say all of this because I've been doing my genealogy, research on genealogy since I was a youth, and I'm searching I'm searching my mama bloodline on her mama's side, which leads me to my grandmama's daddy and mama. So that's two different lines right there. And where they lead me ain't been to Africa yet. Now maybe if I gotta keep going back further than I've gotten, but I ain't seen Africa yet. And on my daddy's side, I'm looking up his daddy, mama and daddy. They both they lines. His mama line on her mama and daddy's side. My great. Listen, I got a lot of story history and on my thing, and I ain't seen Africa yet. I'll tell you what I see though. I see Scottish, and that's firsthand knowledge. That's verbal and documentation confirmation. Like I could go pull up my screen, but I don't want to go into my ancestry.com and all that right now. But I can definitely pull that up probably on a Patreon on a private chat and show you other family members who've gone back further than me on their lines. Like one of my cousins, that daddy line, she going back the further 1700 or something that ain't seen the Africa yet. So this is just to say that, I don't know, maybe what we gotta go back to the 1400s, 13. So I'm talking about Europeans make up a lot of what I am. European brown people, right? On both on a couple different lines. West Indians, Central Americans. They said I was born in Brooklyn. I don't remember. I remember being in Brooklyn, my earliest memories though. See how that works? So I'm in Brooklyn in my earliest memories, but my peoples is none of them from where I'm from. But I'm here. So I'm made up of all of them, but I'm here where I'm at. So when people ask me, what am I? What am I? Am I them or am I me? Am I a combination of them all? And what about those that I don't know? So I go based on that. I don't go based on what they tell me I am. I go based on what my grandmama told me and what I can research. And what I'm seeing is what I see.
Try that one more time. You might not be ready because this go to people all over the country. Comes to a certain conclusion that will produce other action, which you have affirmed. Is a Greek a fraud? A Greek is a fraud. Did the Greeks steal from Kemet? Yes. Okay. If the Greeks stole from Kemet and a Greek is a fraud, what then is the fate of those who have perpetrated the Greek in spite of the fact? There, somebody finally caught on. Everybody hollered fraud. Okay, that's the crime, right? Somebody else gave the sentence. The suggestion is clear that the Ebony 100 most influential ought to be -9. It ought to be the top 91. Because the 9 Greeks ought to back out while there's still time. I'm making a suggestion to the Greek connection, even to those in the room. You might be just an Alpha or a Sigma, or a Zeta, or an AKA. You might just be a little Greek. But you're a Greek nevertheless. And soon you're gonna see. Because when someone tell me they're gonna back up a move on the boule, the first move you're gonna see on every telephone pole is the Greek thing is dead. That's the first move you're gonna see. And all the Greeks, the Alpha, the Kappa, the Omega, and the Sigma, show you right. The AKA, the Zeta, the Sigma, Gamma, Rho, and the Delta. They will all be informed publicly. Please do not have a public manifestation of the Greek thing. Don't have a big dinner. Don't have a big reception. Don't put it in the paper that you're coming. Because I suggest to you that we're going to start to visit you at your things.
That's right.
And ask you to prove your Greek thing on the spot. In the back row will be the cameramen, because everyone's going to need to see your faces when we show up. We might dress up like a Greek and act a little Greek so you can get a reflection of yourself.
That's right.
I said clearly, if you remember JFK, when they was running around playing Roman. All right. So we make a suggestion.
Crazy.
That we're in a process of
That I never thought about what he just said. They playing Roman. When you think of Rome, you think of the chariots, so he come rolling down in the. Oh man, interesting.
penetrating a group of circles, and that these circles are webs, which are numerous organizations, just beyond the boule. You see, we have done it right here in this room. We have asked members of Greek fraternities to show the handshake to the others in the audience. And on every single occasion, they have refused. And that goes to show that even though we may be in their best interests, there is a bridge that will separate us, which cannot be tolerated when we're under attack. We did the lecture Africa 93.
And so I'm going to close with that. Putting people to the test. Test the waters. That's what this is about. Show me the handshake. Oh, you can't show me the handshake because we not one. You on that team. Right? If you're on that team, then you're not going to show me the handshake. Right? So, you already know, man. Text it out. Blow.